Hey everybody, welcome back to the FloTrack podcast. It's Thursday, we're back in the booth. I'm Kevin Sully, joined by Gordon Mack. On today's show, Gordon, we're going to talk about a historic pole vault competition yesterday in Europe, and then start digging more into some NCAA fields. You're going to propose some potential double, triple conundrums. Also, big deal or not a big deal. Does that sound right?
I think that sounds right. I mean, this weekend's kind of a light weekend in general in the track and field world. Next weekend, it's going to be crazy. You have, obviously, Olympic trials, all the conference championships, and that BU last chance meet. Started to talk to the meet director. It's going to be pretty hot. It's going to be a good meet. There's going to be some fast times. We don't have the official list. We won't know that till Monday, but he gave hints that there's going to be some fast people running. So
well, and we know from the people we talked to at USA's, some of the people that are going or that have already said that they're interested. A lot of Bowerman presence there, perhaps.
It's going to be their de facto world championships.
Yeah, it's the world championships in Boston, just for the distance races.
Boston championships.
There it is. I'm excited. If there was world championships this year in the pole vault, no doubt Mondo would have the gold locked up. He vaulted yesterday, almost broke the world record 3 times in 12 days. Took attempts. He bumped it up 1 centimeter again. He cleared 6:07, which prior to the last couple weeks would have been a huge story. Mondo cleared 6:07.
Yeah.
Wow, his PR. That's a PR for him. But in light of the progressive world records that he's set, people are like, okay, now on to the next height. Took 3 shots at a new world record. Didn't get it. But what was interesting, at the same time, Sandi Morris was vaulting at 5:03, which would have been a women's world record. So simultaneous world record attempts. I guess the fans there, I hope, appreciated that, because that's nuts.
Yeah, it is nuts. But I was thinking, where does I think I talked about you or Lincoln about this. But
We're the same people.
We're the same people. Where does Mondo go from here? I mean, now that he's making 6:07 not be impressive anymore because of his own doing, it's kind of like now the expectation on him is it's like a boring, not a good performance unless he breaks a world record.
Yeah, I think we're still, right now, it's still exciting.
Yeah, because
right?
it's in the same month.
And he cleared it by so much that you're wondering what else he can do. Will we get to the point where 6:05s are ho-hum? Yeah, I think we will, and that's just a credit to him. I wonder, though, can he get good enough? Because we know how crazy the pole vault is, right? You do projections and predictions. You know how many times what you have on the sheet doesn't match up the actual results. Can Mondo get so good that he's just basically championship proof? That he could have an off day and still be good enough? Because I've heard a lot of people compare the pole vault kind of to golf, where it's just anything, the favorite can have a bad day and everything can go wrong. Can he get to peak Tiger Woods era, where he was just he could still have a bad day, but he's 5 shots ahead of everybody, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like when Mutaz Barshim jumped over, did a scissor kick over the high jump.
Yeah.
Because it was just the super low height.
Yeah.
Will 6 meters be the scissor jumps for Mondo?
What if he doesn't enter?
Doesn't enter till everyone's gone?
Right.
It'll be treating it like a high school or college meet.
He almost did that in college, and certain competitions this year, Kendricks is still really solid, and there's some other good vaulters, but with a few scratches or something like that, you could see a very high-level meet where Mondo gets in super late.
585, and then I win.
Yeah, one vault, and then it does get kind of okay, wait, what are we watching here? But it's right now it's so cool. I mean, I'm kind of bummed in a way that it's happening in indoors. I know it has to happen in indoors a lot because the variables are a little more controlled.
Well, it has to happen in indoors because it's indoor season.
Well, right, but I'm saying it'd be if it was closer to outdoor, it would just ramp up, and then there'd be no loss of momentum. Also, indoors, there's a meet every 2 days, it seems like.
Yeah, I'm just, I go back to it, but I just think, what's his motivation now for, these regular season meets? I guess it's just collect appearance fees?
Just put Puma
right
at the opposite end of
Puma's
a check.
We didn't know you were this good.
Yeah, we didn't know you were going to do the 1 centimeter trick.
That reminds me of... that happened to Arias Merritt, I believe. He had a bonus, I think a $50,000 or $100,000 bonus every time he broke 13 seconds.
Oh, that's good.
And he broke 13 seconds, 10 plus time in a season. It was in 2012.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And apparently they were like, shit.
Whoops, we should have done that.
There's been a lot of, that we could look into. There's been a lot of good, like, oh shit contracts.
Well, you know who got the best contract?
Kyle Merber.
Kyle Merber
Yes.
wrote the legendary contract. I don't know if that's true or if that's rumored. Has that been confirmed about his world record
I mean,
bonuses?
a world record's a world record, right?
Yeah. I mean, I heard it secondhand. We should have asked him when we had him
I think
for
it's
NCAA
true.
Cross.
I think it's true. I think I talked to him back in Europe or something a few years ago, and I think it is true that there was no distinction that it had to be an individual world record.
So you got DMR and was it 4x8 or was it the DMR
Didn't
twice?
it was like a 4x mile too?
Oh yeah.
4x mile. Yeah, I mean he ran basically the same time that every college kid runs in the top 12 of the DMR. He ran like 2:53, and then he's like $50,000 world record.
Absolute genius right there. Mondo's doing a similar thing. I don't know. I mean, that's the move, though, right?
Yeah.
You don't break it by a ton. It's harder to do in running events. It's not like when you're running the last 50 meters of a steeplechase, you're looking at the clock. Because Beatrice Chepkoech broke it by 16 seconds. Probably not a smart move.
Yeah, because if you think of that one...
12 seconds, something like that.
Mondo leaped? What do you call it?
Jump. You can jump. Or vault,
Vaulted. It was like, what, a foot over the world record when it looked like it? So he has like 12 times, 12 increments of, a centimeter here, centimeter there.
Well,
it's going to be a lot of world records.
Well, Sandi Morris said she thought that was like a 6:30 jump when we asked her. And she knows a lot about pole vault than I do. But just the way he was over. And that's a lot. There's a lot between
There's a lot of centimeters.
6:18 and 6:30. There's a lot of money in between that too. You should do a Photoshop with all the a stack
Yeah,
of
it's
cash.
just like, it looked like your computer screen when it like freezes. It goes, toot. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But
It's like Huel laying on a pile of cash in Breaking Bad.
yes. I always thought this.
What'd you think?
Call me crazy. I think that the way we do pole vault, high jump should be changed. I think we should do pole vault and high jump the same way we do long jump and triple jump and shot put.
Explain.
It should be just how high you go. Lasers.
Oh. Well, you could say the thing about long jump, right? Get rid of the board. Right? And just measure it
but
from
at
where
least
they take.
the thing about long jump, you're not trying to jump over a line.
Right.
Oh, you have to get across this line and move on to the next round.
So you're saying a pole vault with no bar?
Yeah, pole vault with the laser, and it just matches your highest point.
Oh.
I want to inverse both sports. I want pole vault and high jump to have lasers and see how high you go.
Okay.
And then I want long jump and shot put to be competitions the same way they do like high jump competitions where you throw it 20 meters. All right, you clap. Now you have to throw it 20.5 meters.
Oh, interesting.
And you just keep throwing. So you only get 6 throws. You just keep throwing until your last person throwing. You have 3 attempts to get over a certain distance.
Oh, okay. I mean, that might be a terrible idea, but there's been a lot of terrible field
Why would
event
that be
ideas.
terrible? That'd be a great idea.
No, I'm saying
it's like an
pole vault
elimination.
with the bar, because it's like you got to get up, over, and down, right? And you see people have trouble with the bar in all 3 spots.
Well, you have lasers that go out sideways. You figure it out.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think what's cool about though the way it is right now is only pole vault and high jump could have that scenario that they had in Leven yesterday, where it was, okay, 3 people, a world record or bust now. Like you're not getting that in the long jump because
Well, the thing about long jump, triple jump, shot put, and all the other throws is like there's a lot of situations where like the person throws the farthest throw in the first round, and then they lots of fouls, and like you don't really see like this crescendo building up to the end of like the top people facing. Sometimes you do get it where people throw their best throw at the end, and that's like the best moment. But in this, you would guarantee that like the best people are always throwing at the end of the competition because you're eliminating people.
So that's what you like about the pole vault and the high jump is that.
But I want to get rid of it for high jump and pole vault.
Separate the wheat from the chaff.
And put it. I just want to switch it. I want to put a virtual sand pit in the sky for pole vault and high jump.
You want more lasers.
And I want a metal bar in the shot put and long jump. It would be actually cool if there's a metal bar in long jump pit because then there's chance of injury. And that makes it more wild.
So you're saying, so for the shot put, for example, it's like, for the men, it's like, okay, 18 meters right now.
Yeah.
And you have 3 attempts to get 18 meters.
Yeah, get over it. Throw it over, you're good.
So boom, toss it, it's easy, 19 meters. Yeah. Okay, you got 3 attempts.
And then you could skip, you could pass, I'm going to go to the next line.
Next one, and then, but you have to have a mark.
3 chances.
Okay, well see, what that does, that's like, in terms of your terrible ideas, on the smaller end of terrible. Because you could still get an honest measurement too, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, she threw the world record, or so and so.
Yeah, you can still be like, you only get credit for you only move on to the next round, but you can still get credit for your mark.
Which pole vault and high jump you don't.
Yes.
You get the 617, you get the 618, and that's it.
He vaulted 630, but he only gets credit for 618.
Yeah.
Or 17.
So how would it work in terms of, okay, the shot put line moves to 21 meters, and there's only 2 people left.
Yeah.
They both clear 21 meters, and then they all fail at 22 meters. How does that work?
Just the tiebreaker is farthest throw of the competition.
What if when they're at the 21 meter mark, someone throws 22 meters? That doesn't count? Like they still have to then clear 22 when it's
no, yeah, they still got to clear 22.
Okay.
22.
So you could have a situation where you have an early round big throw that doesn't matter.
It makes the end of the competition matter more than the beginning. It's like playoffs. You want playoffs to matter more than the regular season. Speaking of that,
you have to measure out your effort, basically.
Yeah.
Don't throw your 21 meter throw when the line's at 19.
And that's what high jumpers do. They
Just
don't
do 19,
try to go all out and try to jump.
What I like with the long jump, and they've kind of done this, but not really. But my old club coach said this, basically do 3 jumps, then seed them, and then do a bracket, and it's 1 jump each.
2, 3. Then what do you mean bracket? Oh, so you whoever.
So if I had the best jump in the first 2 rounds, I'm the number 1 seed, and I'm going against the 8 seed, for example, and then we each get 1 jump. Who's ever farthest advances.
Oh, but that I don't like. I mean, that was good, but then there's the
it's
best
cutthroat.
jumper could foul. And it's
well, you got to get rid of the fouls. Then you got to figure out a way to where you just have a zone that you're jumping from, and then they're measuring from the takeoff point.
Yeah, we should get rid of lines and jumping, and also relay exchange zones. I'm always pro.
Yeah, I heard you and Lincoln debating the best relay leg situations, and Lincoln thought a series of 200-meter runners would be slower than a miler somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that.
Yeah, he's had a rough week.
Yeah, he has. But I just think that
you're talking about playoffs before I cut you off.
Oh yeah, playoffs.
Yeah.
What do you think's on this is not track related, but let's pretend it is.
What?
The NFL adding another playoff round.
Oh, they did. I didn't see that.
Well, they're going to. It's going instead of 6, it's going to be 7.
Oh.
And now only the top seed gets a bye.
Oh, so it's a whole other. It's an extra weekend.
No, instead of wildcard weekend being 4 games, it's going to be 6 games. So basically, now the number 2 seed is going to play this newly added 7 seed.
Okay. I kind of like it. That's incentivized competition in the regular season too. Trying to get the 1
Or
seed.
it could though, but a lot of times the people who get the 1 seed get it by week 13. So now there's no incentive to try to get the 2 seed.
Ooh, law of unintended consequences.
Yes.
I didn't think about. There's all sorts of innovation going on. Did you see the All-Star game, the NBA?
Yeah, dude, that was good.
The Elam ending. You're a fan of the Elam ending?
Oh, great. We need to add that in track.
I don't know how we do it.
So for those who don't know, it's they have a score you have to get to. There's no time.
Yeah, it's basically like playground basketball.
Yeah.
So they played the first 3 quarters. Say the score was 100 to 90 after 3 quarters. They added 24 points in honor of Kobe Bryant to the team with the highest score, and that was the target score. So there was no really 4th quarter. The 4th quarter was just whoever can get to 124 first. So if you're the team that's 10 points ahead, you obviously have to score 24 points to win. If you're this team that has 90 points, you have to score 34 points that win.
But it was good, man. The drama.
Well, the idea of it, right, is to get rid of the whole fouling game at the end of basketball games and to create more, I guess, authentic, true-to-form plays. Kind of kills the whole idea of sidelined out-of-bounds plays and all that other stuff. It's more, again, like I said, like playground. It's like you're playing first 1 to 11 or whatever.
They need to change it. They need to make it got to win by 2, and you can't win on a foul shot. That's my only changes, which I think they will do. Because it ended on a foul shot, which is kind of like...
Yeah, but how do you not make it... And then people just foul.
You have to make it so you win by 2.
Oh. Or I guess just fouls when you're down... Fouls, you just do sideline out of bounds, and then you just keep getting fouled.
But then they just keep fouling it so they never get a shot off.
Yeah. I don't know. That's tough. But in general, it sounded like it worked. I think it's interesting because you just take out the dimension of you're usually... when you're behind, you're competing against 2 forces, the other team and the clock.
Yeah.
And now it just is...
You're just the other team.
The team. The clock doesn't matter. It's like baseball. I don't know how the Elam ending would work in track. I like how, you contrast the different ball sports out there of how they end and how, they produce dramatic finishes. Obviously baseball, it's like, there's no clock, but you can also come from behind from 10 runs in the last inning.
You know what I think they need to change in track? The way they qualify. I think they do it. They do a good job at this in some field events.
Yeah.
But they don't do it in running events. like 1500, you have two heats, and it's top 4 auto, and then next 2 fastest. It should be top 4 auto, next 2 fastest, but also have if you run this fast, you're also qualified. So then it'll encourage prelims to be fast, because then there's no incentive to sit and kick, because you're like, if I run 3:35, I go to the final no matter what.
What if you get a whole bunch of people, though, into a final? You just deal with it?
You don't make the time easy. You make the time you want to reward people for going out,
You make it like a certain percentage of whatever the world lead is that year or something?
Yeah. You can make it the Olympic standard.
Yeah.
If you run the Olympic standard in the prelim.
And you know that 12 people aren't going to run the Olympic standard in the prelim. Yeah. You're talking about for distance races?
Yeah. Because I feel like there's a lot of times when...
Until the U.S. gets as good as Kenya, and then you need to switch it.
Yeah. But I just feel like there's a lot of times when, there are good athletes who just get in the wrong heat. Like, I think about, this happened recently, 2 years ago. Clayton Murphy was in the same heat with Drew Windle at U.S. Indoors. Mm-hmm. And it turned out to be a slow race.
Yeah.
He got second to Drew Windle. Drew Windle, who went on to medal.
Silver, yeah.
Right? He barely lost him. He lost him by a lean. But because the race he was in, Clayton Murphy clearly was one of the top people to be in the U.S. final. But because he was in a slow heat and got out-leaned by Drew Windle, who went on to be really good, he gets knocked out early. And I don't think that is fair to say.
So under the MAC qualification system, the MQS, you'd say, okay, we have, in the semis at USAs, we have 2 heats of 6, right? And we basically need to eliminate it
2
down
heats of 8, you mean? Or what event are we talking about?
800.
Okay. Yeah, 2 heats of 6.
2 heats of 6,
no,
right?
3 heats of 6.
Okay.
So it's 3 heats.
So say we have 3 heats of 6, and you're going to go...
Winners all go.
Well, hold on. Let me just do the old way first. It'd be 2 plus 2, right? No, it wouldn't be. It'd be 1 plus 3.
1 plus 3.
Yeah. So the heat winners plus the next 3 fastest.
Yeah.
Under the MQS, what would it look like?
So it would be the heat winners plus the next 3 fastest plus if you run under 147.
Okay.
And you're not part of that group.
So that would just add in. So there could be 7, 8 people in the final?
But assuming, though, that...
Or does it bump out the slowest? No,
it doesn't bump anyone out.
Low Q. Okay.
It doesn't really work for indoor.
I think it should bump out the low Q. What's wrong with bumping out the low Q? The lowest non-automatic qualifier.
Well, but they would have gotten bumped out anyway because they would have ran fast.
Well, but if a different heat though.
No, but the whole idea is to give someone who's not a non-automatic qualifier, but they still ran fast. They would have. Yeah,
I'm just saying, what if heat 1, for example, it's Brazier and he runs 144. This is a scenario. Murphy runs 145, and then Windle runs 146, right? So. Oh, I get it. You're saying Windle would get in as a small Q anyway because of the chances of them. But it would solve itself.
It solves itself because it's just time. It mainly works more in 1500, I think.
Well, it's mainly psychological of oh crap. Well, let me just run a 140. I think you need to make it a little slower than the Olympic standard because that's a little too ambitious. People will be write it off. You need to put it to where it's it'll get the race going a little bit.
It's really more for 1500 prelims and 5K prelims at the Olympic trials.
Okay.
Because 5K prelims and Olympic trials is these 13, 10, 13, sub-13s, 1320 guys run a 1350.
Yeah.
14 flat. And then the next heat just all runs 1340 and they're all in because the 1340 crew is and it's just, and they had the luxury of going second. So then they knew they all ran 14 flat. It's just all run 1350 and we're all going to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But now you know that, you can control your own destiny. You don't need the people around. Just being able to control your own destiny, it just allows for some kid to be college kid to be hey, I'm going to go out there and run 1330 and get in no matter what.
Yeah,
I don't care if I finish 10th, I'm on 1330.
The worst prelims, I think everybody agrees, are steeple prelims.
Yeah.
Because nothing ever interesting has ever happened in a steeple prelim. John from Let's Run and I always talk about this one in the mix zone. We're is this going to be the year is this going to be the race? Is this going to be the meet where something happens? But I think I bet if you followed Kenyan steeple prelims, in their
That's a
championships,
little more exciting.
there'd be drama. There's just not the depth in the United States.
Yeah, it is mind-boggling to look at the time of like the eighth fastest American woman in the steeple, and Emma Coburn.
Compare them to 1 to 8. Yeah.
Like that time difference compared to the time difference of the eighth fastest 5K woman.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Shelby.
Yep.
It is so much shorter,
Yeah.
and it's just like there isn't enough women, right? And and on the men's side
Even
too.
men, yeah, I'm gonna say. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
as pronounced on the men's side,
But
but if you go,
you see, like on the women's side, you see like 950 3K steeplers in the same heat with
Yeah.
people who run sub 910.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't.
yeah. Well, on the men's side of things, you're seeing Jager, who's eight flat guy,
Yeah.
right? With people in the final who are
840. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say
Yeah.
even 830. Like
Yeah.
that's for a 3,000 meter race. That's a huge disparity.
Yeah.
So I'd be for something there, but I don't think that would necessarily help because it's not like they're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go run the
Well, I think what they need to do is they need
straight final.
They should make the.
I wonder if
Yeah, it should be straight final. Make the standard a lot harder, where it can always be a straight final.
I wonder if you went straight final, if you'd see Steepler starting to
Doublers.
double.
Yeah.
And how different would Jager's career have been if all through the years he could have been doing?
Have that 5K extra.
Because remember, he made the 5K team way back when he was still.
Could you double 3K steeple in something at Worlds?
They changed that so much.
You should have the schedule memorized, because for those who don't know, Kevin, 200 days out, 300 days out?
Yeah.
You would literally look at the Doha schedule.
Yep.
At least twice a day. You got a tab on your computer.
I want to internalize it.
It's February 13th, and you're looking at the Doha schedule and be like, yeah, I'm going to have lunch this day.
Yep, I did actually plan it out to that level.
Why were you that serious about your schedule? It's really weird.
I just thought it was interesting because they change it every time. It's not like remember when we were in high school. I don't know about
remember
you.
I was in high school.
Wasn't the meet the same every single time?
Yeah.
And it's just weird that we get to the highest level of track and field, and it's just like
Let's change it up.
let's change up.
This goes first. That goes first.
Yeah, it was interesting to me one for the potential doubles because I'd always forget. Oh,
This is not double possible anymore.
right, because the men's 10 was at the end of the meet, which I always thought was weird, and for the Olympic trials it's gonna be the same thing where the men's 5 comes first. I always thought it should go 10 and then 5. I could never keep the 15-5 stuff straight. I could never keep the 8-15, the 4 and the 2. I never knew who was winning. And I also just like it from like a perspective of like, okay, this night, who's going to be running?
But here's the thing. Regardless, you can like all this stuff, but this is stuff you look in your hotel room the night before.
No. You
You don't
gotta,
need to look at it
You gotta be
a year out.
No, you gotta have it internalized. This is reminding me. I don't have memorized the Tokyo schedule yet. And I'm not gonna be there, so it's a little different. But no, don't you think it's interesting though? Like when stuff happens, because you have 10 nights, right?
Yeah, which is also stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Worlds should be 4 days.
I agree.
Should be same length
Maybe
as a tennis.
tops of 6, but yeah, you could maybe talk me into 4.
NCAAs does it in 4.
It's interesting. It's it's 2.5 times the meet of NCAAs, I guess. What's interesting to me is you have all these days. You have 10 days, right? So there's not that many finals each night, right? And everybody's got to be. It's like who's trying to figure out who's the story of that day.
Yeah.
Because if you remember in Rio, Van Niekerk's 43:03 was the same night as Bolt, and so there was a lot of like, I think Van Niekerk got even more attention. Now 43:03, you're gonna get attention regardless. But it was because like, a lot of people were tuning in to watch Bolt, and they're like, wait, who is this guy? Yeah, how fast did he broke Michael Johnson's record? Like that's pretty crazy.
He just ran a 100-meter dash.
Yeah, 10.6. 10.6. And ran a 157 800.
157. I was trying to find the time.
A grass 800.
Have you ever seen a grass track?
I haven't. Have you?
I went to Jamaica and saw a grass track. It's kind of interesting.
Was it like very manicured?
No, but like you could tell, like this is where they. It was just weird. I was seeing Shelly and Fraser Price doing sprints, like block starts on grass tracks.
No, it's awesome. I like
the world class sprinters. Literally, like there's like only like one Mondo track in like Jamaica,
right? And there's no.
or like 2. There's 2 of them.
Don't they say there's like 2 or 3 steeple pits in all of Kenya? I don't know if that's actually true, but you brought up tennis before. Multiple surfaces. How about a grass, a clay?
Oh yeah.
Hard court with Mondo. Just
We should do that.
rotate around the 3 surfaces. I like the aesthetics of a grass track. It looked cool. I know they do that race in Australia, the Stallwell Gift. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's all like and they've had big time people come. Like they have some fast Jamaicans come, but it's too complicated to get into, I guess. But basically,
they don't get into it.
Well, they do like handicap racing in terms of like they figure out.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
And then they stagger the start, but it's all on these grass.
Wasn't there a drama of some guy like faking his handicap?
Yeah.
In order to win it.
I think there's been a lot, and there's like different age groups and stuff. But like Kathy Freeman, the great 400-meter runner.
Yeah.
Like a lot of really great runners have run it, and it's funny when you like see the clips on YouTube. They're like walking down some person who's probably like really good for Australia, but like they're not an Olympic gold medalist. Van Niekerk, 157 and 800. So he's not doing any more 800s. So
that was it. He's not gonna remember when what's his name tried to do an 800.
Jeremy Warner.
Yeah. For those who don't know, we tried to live broadcast that meet. Ooh, that was bad. It was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So there was like no place to like put a camera up high enough to like see the track. No internet.
Oh geez.
No power. So you're running on battery. It was.
Where was it?
Texas State.
Somewhere in Texas. I was gonna say.
Yeah. So we tried to do it live. Eventually, we just filmed it and uploaded it because that's all that mattered. But like, that's what you learn is like doing a live event. Not every place that has like power and.
I've seen that race. Fenton was
I think Fenton went to it.
Yeah.
It was Fenton's idea, so.
He's like, hey, go Ryan.
He had to own it, so he can't be like, where's the internet?
Everybody was super curious about Warner's.
I think they'll be more curious to see what Warner did like 5 years before that race, but.
Yeah, you never get them when you want to see them. It's always when they're not as good at their primary event that they move on. You know what? One of my big track regrets here, and it's clear now because Radisha's not that good. I always wanted to see him in a 1500.
Yeah.
Like I know he came from the 400, so he was more a speed-based guy. But especially before Chariot came and all those races were tactical, I was like, Radisha can definitely like chill and run like a couple 62s, and then kick off that.
Yeah, I would want to see Brazier be on the relay pool, and I think the fact that U.S. never really lets 800-meter runners be a part of the 4x4, I think, is a travesty.
So
because they're all for letting the 400 hurlers do it.
Yeah.
They let 200-meter runners sometimes do it.
What's he got to do to get on? Do you think run one, open one? I mean, he's got to show something, right?
Yeah, but like he knows he could easily run. He is easily better than the 6th best 4x100 guy. Like you get top 6 in the U.S. final, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far, but I like to see him in the 4x4.
I mean, look, this is my like. Devin Dixon is an 800-meter runner, but he splits 43 seconds in a 400.
Yeah, I think Brazier split a 45.9 in high school.
In high school.
Yeah. No, he's fast.
Brazier will easily split 43 seconds in a 4x4, 100%. Not, I would willing to bet everything.
Okay.
Like just everything.
Donovan, like if you're watching, it's a lot of pressure.
Everything that he would split sub 44 seconds in a 4x4.
Okay.
If you're a 142 runner, and he easily.
Yeah. Well, the U.S. has not a lot of guys, but plenty of guys who could do that.
But I just feel like it would be cooler to. I mean, look at Emmanuel Courier. He can split 43 seconds.
You've told me this numerous times.
Right, but like it's the same It's the same like. There's a lot of like Kenya should do it too. There's so many like. If you take Kenya's 800-meter team and put them in a 4x4,
they'd be good.
They would make the world final.
Yeah. Who's on your 4x4 this year then, for the U.S.? Who makes the team?
If I could.
No, because you do it for the most possible like retweets. You'd put like Holloway, Norman, Benjamin, and Brazier on there, and be like, "This is."
I'd put Holloway.
Yes.
And I'll put Curley, and I'd put Norman, and then it'll be Holloway, Curley, Norman.
You wouldn't put Ry Benjamin on there?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
And then I would have to have a race off between Kamari Montgomery, Ry Benjamin, Devin Dixon, and Donovan Brazier.
Okay, but who's actually going to be on the team this year? Who do you think?
Who do I think actually will be on?
Yeah, I mean,
isn't there another stupid ass co-ed thing where they let like 20 people pretend they're champions?
I think, hey man, they got some world record money there. Obi ran the first round. Your guy Obi ran the first round.
Of like the co-ed one?
They broke the world record, but then I asked, because then in the final a different team rebroke it.
Yeah.
I asked when I was at the meet. See, this is why you gotta be prepared. You gotta know the schedule.
If they get credit for the world record.
It was only if it gets broken twice, it's whoever has the better. Whoever breaks it second is the one who gets the bonus. So I don't think they got the bonus. So Obi.
Well, that's bullshit because it wasn't in the same race. It's a different day. You're
right,
world
but
record
they're
holder.
saying like at the conclusion of the championships.
Oh, was that in the? They should.
Yeah, no, that's what they pointed me to the language. I think because they would have had to do $50,000 twice.
Well, they should have.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm all for it. Especially with that relay, it's so ridiculous that it's even in the meet. I think it's gonna be Norman, if he's healthy, Benjamin, Curley, Montgomery probably if he may.
I just think it's cooler.
That third spot's pretty open in the 400.
I think it'd be cooler to do like a Holloway or just.
We should get to enter a B team. The U.S. should get to enter a B team.
Yeah. Also, why is? Yeah, everyone should be able. Yeah, why can't you sweep the 4x4?
Yeah, you should be able to. You should be able to enter.
You get 3 relay teams.
You should get.
If you get the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple teams in beach volleyball.
Yeah.
I mean, is that analogous to multiple people in the 100?
We should be able to have a second basketball team too. All U.S. final.
I mean, who cares? We already know who's the best in basketball. That would be awesome though. USA B and USA C. And USA C is just like that dream. And they let you pick the C. They're like, Gordon, we'll do A and B. Can you handle C? And you're like.
Or what if we had to qualify our 4x4 at trials? So it's like 4 guys have to be friends. I mean, like, all right, we're the team.
So that would be. I think that would be cool because they would obliterate the world record. Well, never mind. They wouldn't obliterate the world record. World record's really fast. But they'd at least have a chance at the world record. I feel like by the time the Olympics come around and by the time that 4x4 final comes around, everybody is so exhausted. They're just dying to get to the line. If they had to run it to like when they're in peak fitness at trials, I think you'd see faster times there. The women, I thought they actually had a shot at the world record.
Because think about this. If B on a relay team was part of like, they don't take the 4 best people and put them together. Like you have to qualify as a 4x4 or as a 4x1. It would encourage like pride and
friendship.
No, it'll encourage pride in training groups.
Yeah.
Because it would be like, hey, like, oh my goodness, like Norman is now training with Benjamin would be like a bigger news story because like, well, they can put together a good 4x4. The same way we get excited about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving being on the same team, now you can get excited about certain sprint athletes being on the same team or same training group because now we're like, whoa, that 4x4 is going to be.
Who negotiates it? Like, could it be cross brands?
I guess, no, it wouldn't, right? I mean, you would have to be like, hey.
So Michael Norman just is like, all right, I'm Michael Norman. I'm going to try to recruit a team. Like, I'm going to be like the LeBron here and see who I can get to come.
And then he would be like, I really want this Adidas athlete. Mm-hmm. He calls Nike, like, can we do a sign and trade? give him one of the Lyles brothers. And then, I'll take.
Oh, so you have to be on the same.
No, you could be unsponsored.
What if you just call him up and say, like Michael Norman's like, hey, I know I'm the number 1 asset here, right? Because of how fast I ran last year.
But then
I'm the top dog.
You'd literally have a Norman 4x4 and a Curly 4x4.
Right. So
it'd be awesome.
Norman gets on his phone and is like, well, I already got Rye, right? Because we're roommates. Yeah. Then he tries to get 2 other people and he's like, let's go to the Texas Relays and qualify. They go to the Texas Relays and they qualify with the number 1 time. Yeah. And then they're like, then they have to go and do it again at the Olympic trials? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Olympic trials. You have to win the 4x4 at the Olympic trials for your team to represent Team USA. And you're gonna have a Curly anchor going up against a Norman anchor, and it's gonna be like it could be like an entirely USC based team or like an SEC type team. Yeah. And like this would be drama. It would be another way if you like, boom. And then basically what they'll do is the
team would be worse, right? That's the team that eventually runs the Olympics that would be worse because you split up the talent.
This is the way you change it. You let the second place team be alternates.
Okay. And then you can sub them in.
Yeah.
But then how bad are you going to feel if you're the 4th guy and then you're like, yeah, actually Fred Curley's going to come in and run this because he's really fast. No, I like it. I mean, here's the thing though, like the women, there's like I feel like Sydney, Muhammad, Jonathan, and Francis, those are like 4 of the 6 fastest women in the world, right? You have Nasser and Miller Weibo out there, but Open 400, I think that would be the group right there. on the same team. So it would suck from a U.S. perspective if they all didn't end up on the same team. I like where you're going, though, just from like a trials entertainment perspective.
Yeah.
And then you'd see who's like a good GM, like who's able to
Yeah.
like recruit.
And but hold on. Why are we so fascinated about trying to see the 4 best people in the world in a 4x4? Like, why is that more exciting than seeing like a team?
Yeah, and I think
Like, because Toronto Raptors had one really good guy and then 4 scrubs. I hate the Toronto. Did that make their win less entertaining
Pascal
than
Siakam
a win like
with like a super team.
yeah?
No, and I think there could be some unintended consequences here that times might actually drop in a way because they'd just be running the event more frequently. Now, indoors is weird. It's different, but that's a perfect example, right? Look at like USC running the fastest time in the world. Yes, they had 2 incredibly amazing guys, but then the other 2 guys, they could have found faster legs in the United States than those 2. But because they're running it in a high-stakes race and because they ran it more frequently, they had shots at getting the record. Like, maybe these records would eventually get quicker if they're running it on their own, right, to qualify, and then they're running it again at the trials, and they're running it again at the Olympics. Like, that's 3 different points in the season when they're running a high-level 4x4. We never see that. We see them do it once. 4x1, I mean, it's hard to imagine a different
Well,
quartet.
4x1 would get much faster because then they're actually training
with each other.
You know,
Yeah.
Carl Lewis is like, my team is 5-time national champions.
Yeah. So
You know,
Carl
like-
Lewis just runs back the.
Carl Lewis
well,
is
he,
go-
he- yeah, Mario Burks.
Well, he'll recruit some, you know, because then there'll be
I like
then
Carl's
there's going to be a
recruiting
big
pitch.
announcement and be like, Carl Lewis signs Ronnie Baker to a 5-year deal. Like, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, I guess the thing to like make it work. I mean, it's not going to work, but the thing that I'm wondering in my head is like, who ultimately decides then? Is it the athlete? They just decide which team they're on? Because there's no like coach, right? There's no manager or anything. It's like
the coach of the athlete.
yeah, but so it's like Lyles is, but like who's in charge of putting it together? Like who's coach? The first guy.
I mean, who put together the Cleveland Cavaliers? The GM or LeBron?
Well, you're right. That's why I think that
Combination.
LeBron. Yeah. So like Sydney's.
So Noah Lyles would go to Lance Brahman and be like, "Hey, I want my 4x1 team to win USA's and go to the Olympics."
Yeah.
He's like, all right, Brahman's like, all right, I have the best runner right now. I need to find a way to put 3 guys around him
Yeah.
to put together a good 4x1, right? And,
But is there money changing hands here, or is it just like
Well, no, it's like join this training group.
join this? Well, you have to be in the group, or do you just have to like?
No, you gotta be on
It's
the
up
team.
to the. It's up to the.
It's up to how they want to do it.
Right.
If they want to have a
If they wanna have
long
no-
distance relationship, they can do that.
Yeah.
But if they want to try to win, they
Yeah.
could maybe train together.
So Sydney goes to Joanna Hayes and is like, "Hey, I want Delila to be on my team."
Yeah.
Delila's like, "Hey, that sounds cool." Or Delila goes to
Yeah.
her
And then
says,
there'll be a time, there's going to be a Noah Lyles 4x1 and a Christian Coleman 4x1. And then there's going to be a time when Ronnie Baker is going to leave Coleman's group to join Lyles' group, and it's going to be like big news.
crazy. Yeah.
And then there's going to be a time when Lyles and Coleman are both 30, and they're going to say, fuck it, and Coleman's going to join Lyles, and then we'll be like, oh my God, they're
Yeah.
together. This team's unstoppable. It'll literally be awesome.
I've heard a lot of ideas, a lot of
And
theories
and then
in track.
imagine if we did this with distance events too. If like,
Relays?
yeah, like some like 4x8 teams or 4x-mile teams and all this shit. It'll be great.
I was gonna say, I've been covering track intently
your
about
entire life.
about 10 years.
Okay.
About 10 years. I mean, I've been paying attention to track for longer, but about
Yes.
10 years. And that's when I've been hearing all these plans to save track, all these crazy, wonky, strange ideas. I've certainly had my fair share of them. I will say I've literally never heard this idea before, which is something. That's saying
That's
something.
good.
The fact that we're hearing a new idea in 2020. Maybe you were inspired by the NBA All-Star Game or the NFL expanding the playoffs.
I'm
but-
inspired by free agency, right? And like,
Well, it's not just free agency.
yeah.
It's the idea that why does the relay team need to be the 4 best people? Why can't it be a more organically
Yeah.
formed team that races throughout the year? I mean, imagine if USATF said your relay team needs to be 4 people. They need to be eligible to compete for the United States, and they need to run at trials. And in order to qualify for trials, you need to run this time, but you also need to make 2 appearances at 2 sanctioned meets, right? That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool to see multiple 4x1s and 4x4s, and not just showing up once and running it at the Olympic Games, right? Because that's what it is. Like, it's elevating the relays more.
And like you'd even have like some of these teams would probably be 5 or 6 deep, where they would have to run, prelims and trials at the trials. So like they'll hold out. Norman will let his, the 46-second guy who just wants to be on the team running the prelims, and then he comes in and runs the finals. Yeah, and then like you think of.
Like, I think that's worth it. I mean, it's fun. I almost think that that's worth the trade-off of like, yeah, okay, we're not going to see them at the Olympics with like the 2 best people may not be on the same team. They might, but I think it's worth it because it's the classic track dilemma of, do you want an interesting span of 3, 4, 5, 6 months, or do you want an interesting week?
Yeah.
And one interesting race. I'm willing to experiment with more things that make the whole year interesting.
Yeah, and also like I don't know how tennis does it, but like, does tennis pick their like the people who represent the doubles? Are they just like the 2 best individuals?
No,
right?
no, they're doubles partners.
Yeah. They're like a team. So you think about it the same way.
Same way, yeah. Well, that's the same with beach volleyball, right?
Yeah.
Beach volleyball.
It's a team.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, we're pairing you and you, right? Because Misty May and Carrie Walsh played together forever, and they were like the 2 best, and then they've since split up, and I think they have different partners now. I don't really know much about beach volleyball. That's the extent of it. But
you watch it every 4 years, though.
I try to avoid it. Got to be honest, not a big beach volleyball fan. It's very boring to me. And the Americans dominating all the time. It's just not that. I think indoor volleyball is more exciting.
What's your non-track Olympic event besides basketball?
Non-track. Oh, summer Olympic event?
Yeah. Both, summer and winter.
Well, winter hockey. I think hockey is.
You like watching hockey?
Yeah, it's super, super exciting.
Me, it's short track speed skating.
They just fall a lot.
It's
and
awesome.
Then everybody's getting DQ'd, and the guy who gets 9th wins.
Yeah.
You like it because of probably the controversy.
Yeah.
Summer, probably swimming just because it's on a bunch, and it's kind of analogous to track, although I get tired of like a million world records. What else do I like in summer?
Gymnastics?
It's fine. It'd probably be swimming. I'd probably say swimming. I haven't really watched that much.
I like gymnastics.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just, I know people probably say it's about track, but it just seems to go on for forever because there's the team and then the individual. We only have 17 minutes left. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. No, it's cool. That was again, probably a horrible idea, but at least it was like a unique horrible idea. And I like those. It's not, because like you hear the same things recycled with like slight tweaks. That thing is way out there. I like it. And again, I'd be willing to, like if I was the track commissioner, I'd be willing to like play with that for one. I mean, everybody would hate it because everybody hates change, but and the athletes, what would happen is no one would do it, right? They'd be like, I don't want to run extra relays. It's an Olympic year. I got to keep my hammies ready to go. Like people like wouldn't run it. So then the team that qualifies would end up being like a C team of like people. But then maybe they would go and they would win the gold medal.
They would do it.
No, but they would go and they win the gold medal, and people would be like, oh damn, like
I could win a gold medal.
That team won. Like we should have been out there trying to win it. Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah.
But like, do you think that? But like, last I know we only have. We can talk as much as we want, but like
16 minutes.
Norman and Benjamin didn't say like, I don't want to run the USC 4x4. I just want to run my individual event.
You know what happens when people become pros? They get a lot more selective about what they're doing. It seems like they go from racing a ton to racing not at all.
But you incentivize it with like to their contract, like you can now win 2 national titles.
Yeah.
You win twice as much prize money.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
No, again, I think it's seeing an awesome race like that at the trials is worth it. Gordon's laptop has now consumed the entire screen. You texted me about who I think's running what at NCAAs, so we wanted to do that, right? And then you wanted to do some Tifers explanation.
So first thing is there's a big one coming up. So I was talking briefly to one of the coaches about this. Mm-hmm. But there are 2 very good, talented women in the NCAA, both of which are literally qualified in every event. You have Dani Jones and Whittni Orton.
DMR 15, 3, and 5.
Yeah.
Both of them.
And
well, Dani's not.
No, you mean mile. So they're both in. They both have top 3 mile times, top 5 DMR times, top Danny Jones doesn't have a 3K
3K,
time
that's
yet,
what I
but
was
she'll get it at NPSF. But they'll be top 3 3K. They're top 3 in 5K. Danny Jones also has an 800 time, but she's not doing 800. So anyway, it's mile, 3K, 5K DMR. What you can't do all 4. You could do 3. You could focus on doing 2. How do you think Danny Jones and Whittni Orton approach NCAAs? What do they scratch? What do they event when they have those 4 events?
I think Orton is going to do the DMR and the 3K, and I think Jones is going to do the mile and the 3K.
Okay. So why do you think neither of them will do the 5K?
I think neither of them will do the 5K because it's, well, for Orton, it's still a stretch in terms of her true ability, remember? I mean, she was really good in cross, but last year on the track, she was 1,500. I think they both, and I think for Dani,
Just a 5K champion.
Yeah, but just a better route for competition-wise. The mile is more open than the 5K. I think Kaladi and Monson are going to be tough. And Izzo's right now. Yeah, I think they both ran the 5K to
Monson doesn't have a 5K time yet.
She doesn't. Well, there's going to be someone there in the 5K. Whereas I think in the mile,
there's going to be nobody.
Yeah. I mean, pull up the mile list right now.
Bad.
And also, I think she ran. The only reason she got the 5K time, I think, was to get an Olympic trials mark out of the way during the winter, and so she didn't need to worry about it. So I think that's the reason she
So you're
ran.
saying Dan Jones is doing the mile because it's easier, right?
And she's won. Hasn't she won that race before? No, wait, she ran the 3K in DMR a couple years ago, right?
She's won the 5K outdoors.
Right. So
she's doing it because the
she's
fun factor.
She's doing it because it's her best distance. In college, it is her best distance, the mile.
Then why does she do the 1,500 outdoors?
That's the mile. She got a late start, remember? She was hurt,
Okay.
and then I don't think she was doing too much speed stuff. I could be misremembering
So
part
you're doing
of
this because it's her best distance, and she's already on the 5K, and it's easier because it's not as deep a field.
The competition's not as, yeah.
So then why would Whittni Orton not do the mile?
I think to go
Why is she doing the DMR over the mile?
Okay, to go all in on the DMR. And the DMR, essentially, as we know, turns into a mile race.
Then why doesn't Danny Jones go all in on the DMR?
They're a little bit farther. Well, ... the DMR turns into a mile race. But we've seen, remember Virginia Tech 2 years ago on the men's side, right?
Yeah, Stanford.
Pushed from the front to open it up, put a lot of pressure. We thought New Mexico and Josh Kerr were going to have a chance. He got the baton just too far back. BYU has 2 205 women. They have the other legs covered. Not so much that they're going to be blowing everybody out. But then that race comes down to a mile race between, let's look at those top teams, right, that have run fast times. Washington, Stanford, Arkansas, BYU.
And could be Colorado. Colorado 10:59.
Colorado converted 10:59. They were like well over 11, which DMR conversions, whatever. So they're a little bit of ways back. They would be 5, right? And then there's a bigger group. I think Florida is the next one in there.
I think if Colorado ran, they would be in it. I don't think they would be dropped by 7 seconds. I think they would put a lot of pressure on. I think BYU, Stanford, Washington, and Arkansas would put a ton of pressure on the first 3 legs. The race would open up, and Jones would have a tough task to reel people back in. And if she ran the mile prelim earlier that day, it would be very difficult. So then you have Arkansas, who I'm assuming Izzo is just going to run 3K, 5K. Werner is redshirting. Gregory, I believe, is not running. So it's like Villion and Devin Clark. I think Orton is stronger than them. Stanford. Yeah.
Dani,
their favorite. Yeah.
So basically, there's like, it comes down, I think, to Stanford versus BYU in the DMR, and I would like their odds there.
But here's the thing, though. Think about this. Would Orton regret it? Imagine if Danny Jones decided to do the exact same thing Orton did. Who do you think's better, Danny Jones or Orton?
Well, Jones right now.
Okay.
But their 5K times weren't too far apart.
We're not talking 5. We're talking 3K and under.
I mean, Orton's running really well right now.
But
Orton is close enough to where if a couple things break right in a tactical race, Orton could be there.
Hear me out this way. Would Orton have regrets if she loses to Danny Jones in the DMR?
And then the mile is just like...
And then like...
Who's in the mile?
Like a 4:34 girl wins
Read
the mile.
Read the mile list.
Would she have more regrets that? or would she rather, like?
No, versus the opposite.
Yeah.
I think.
So this is the mile. Danny Jones, who we think will run it, 427. Orton, 429, who I guess you're saying not run it. Whittni, 432, won't run it. Danae Rivers,
Sure, on the 800 probably.
432, won't run it. Julia Haymack and Ella Donahue or Stanford, would they not run it because they just want to do the DMR?
Right.
Fresh. And then you get down to Sarah Edwards, 434, Virginia Tech. My take is I think Whittni and Dani should double and do the mile and the DMR because the mile prelims are going to be a joke. 10 qualify to the final.
Right.
The 10th, most likely, if you take out people who are take out for double, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Basically, the 10th best time is going to be Loti Black of
Lottie
Rhode
Black.
Island, 436. So, do you
ran
think
good
Danny
last year.
Jones and Whitney Orton could easily use up not a lot of energy to go up against 436 girls and qualify?
Yeah, but you still have to run a little bit. It still puts something in your legs, and then
3 hours recovery.
yeah, I mean we saw it last year with all the four. I mean Josh Kerr kind of cruised through the prelims a couple years ago. I keep using that as a parallel. Look, I think if you're going to err on going into the wrong race, I think you err on going into the wrong race in the DMR because at least you got your team with you, right? And if you're going to get second, I think you'd rather be second, like program-wise. I think you'd rather be second in that.
But here, what about this for Danny Jones? Would she want to do the DMR and not the mile so that she's fresher for the 3K and not have a mile final before her?
That's why I think Orton would be better served to just do the DMR and not worry about that. The 3K is going to be
Wild.
bloodbath, man. That's going to be crazy out there. So that's what I think they're going to do.
So you're saying Orton, DMR 3K, Jones, mile 3K.
Yeah, neither of them are running the 5. I think that's pretty much guaranteed. I think it's just a matter of
I'll go wild. Danny Jones, 800, 5K. The greatest,
That would be awesome.
the weirdest double of all
I mean,
time.
the 800 prelim is
That'd
pretty
actually be kind of wild if she did that.
extra day of rest.
She'd be the
before
first one ever to
outdoors.
win that.
Yeah. That'd be a Sifan Hassan move.
She
right?
could do that.
Yeah.
800 prelim is going to be a joke. She could win the 5.
Colorado, get that going.
Danny Jones, 800 5K double. Go
All right,
for it.
What else did you want to ask
So I
me?
want to do some like,
Big deal, not a deal.
yeah, big deal, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Reaction, overreact.
Sure,
What-
all
how
that.
do- how do you call
all
it?
those segments. Everything that PTI did.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
First one,
Yeah. Hit me with it.
Chloe Abbott.
Mm-hmm.
What was she at? What's her PR? PR of 50.98.
Yeah, at NCAAs last year, she was
Yeah.
second.
She was second at NCAAs.
Outdoors, yeah.
She's currently ranked 20th. In
What
the
is she?
400, she's run 53.19.
How many races has she run?
She was 14th at Tiger Paul Invitational. She was
Yeah,
14th.
big deal.
Is this a big deal or not a big deal?
Yeah, big deal. I mean, that race, the women's 400 is wide open.
Yeah.
She is one of the people who could win it, so we've seen enough from her to be like, hey, I don't know what happened in the 53 race, but yeah.
That was the only one, too.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal that she's ranked 20th?
Yeah. You made
So,
top
do you-
16 get in, right?
Yeah.
Did they change the rule? Okay, yeah, it's a big deal then.
Big deal.
She's good.
Another one. Devin Dixon, not ranked in the top 16 in the 800.
Not a big deal. I think he's going to get the mark at SECs. I think he'll be fine. He only has run one 800 this year, right? And it was like a weird, quirky race in the 150s at Tiger Paw. So, I think he'll get to NCAAs. Whether or not he wins, that's another story. It's always been.
But he'll get the time
Yes.
this weekend or next weekend?
Yeah.
Avi Wilson Pertiti
Yeah.
has only run like 208 this year, not in the top 30.
Yeah. I mean, is Nia Akins just going to win the 800?
Yeah, but do you think that if she what's an Avi? She's second or third? At
Yeah.
Alcorn?
No, she was good.
Is that a big deal that she? Or do you
Yes.
think she'll qualify or not? Or do you think
What is she right now?
she's like 40th?
So what does she have left? Just is she an MPSF?
MPSF. No, Mountain West.
Mountain West. I'm sorry. I think she'll get in.
I
Yes.
think she'll get it.
We were talking about Rivers winning the 8, or not Rivers. Dan Jones winning the 800. I forgot Nia Akins has run too flat. So yeah, that's not happening.
Here we go. Let's go on the men's side. 5K.
Yep.
So NAU currently has 5 in, ranked first, third, 11th, 12th, and 15th.
Not-
Ryan Raff.
Not a big deal.
No, hold on. No, this is what I'm trying to get. Ryan Raff,
Joking.
15th,
Yeah.
1340.99. 16th is 1341.9. Should Ryan Raff be worried?
Yes. Yes.
You think someone? You think two people will run a fast enough? Will run sub 1341 in the next 2 weeks?
I think he should be worried. That's different than I think he's going to get bumped, but I think he should be worried.
You should be worried.
I mean, look at how many guys have run under 750 in the 3,000, right?
Yeah.
It's a deep year. It's a deep year. I'd be worried.
Do you think Cooper Tier would run the 5K over the DMR?
I feel like they're going to run the DMR because the DMR is wide open for the men, and they have a much better chance of winning the DMR than he does winning.
But
the
they have Charlie Hunter and James West.
Yeah.
They could have those two do the 12 and the mile, and then have Cooper Tier score points in the 5.
I mean, Cooper Tier's better though, right? Cooper Tier gives them the best chance to win the DMR.
I don't think so.
Who's the DMR favorite?
I mean, I think James West is a great miler. He's 335, 1500. He could kick with the best of them.
Who's the DMR favorite right now? Notre Dame?
Notre Dame.
I mean, this is sort of almost like a women's scenario where you got BYU and Stanford, right? Right now, unless someone does something crazy, I feel like on the men's side of things, you have, I mean, Stanford's always going to be lurking, and then we don't know what NAU is going to do, but we have Notre Dame and we have Oregon. So if you start with basically a 50% shot to win it, I feel like you got to put everything into that race.
You know my hot take? I bet you what Oregon does is I bet Cooper Tier is going to skip MPSF. He's going to go to BU, try to run an Olympic 5K standard, and then run the 5K indoors.
2 5Ks, 2 weeks. I don't know.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
Cooper Tier, Olympic 5K standard. He's going to run.
Are you reporting that?
No, that's what I think.
You're
is
not
gonna
reporting.
Happen.
You're
I'm not reporting.
You have to clarify.
So yeah, I'm not reporting.
Okay.
I just have a
lot of people will be
strong
listening.
opinion,
Okay.
but not reporting. Of course not.
Again, we're clarifying that this is not you reporting. This is you just speculating.
Yeah, speculation.
I think you're right. James West is good. When they ran the collegiate record, was James West on the 1200 leg, or he ran the? I feel like he ran the 1200 leg. Is that right?
He ran the 1200.
Yeah.
Hunter ran the 800, and then Tier ran the mile.
I would run that team back. And put Tier heads up with Nagoose on the anchor. I would do it. If he jumps in the 5,000, what's the best case scenario for Tier in the 5,000? I mean, a great
Third.
race would be third,
Yeah.
right? But with Klecker, with Kurgat, with
But the thing is,
NAU.
Tier getting third, 6 points. That's 6 extra points that you wouldn't get with versus like going from 8 to 10. You're trading off 6 for 2.
But if you're not going to win, they're not going to win the meet, right? They're not going to get on the podium. Wouldn't you rather just have a win?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, would you rather have 10 points with 1 win, or would you rather have like 3
16
minor
points,
places?
yeah.
I think at this point for Oregon, like you want to win, you want to dub.
But do you think, Robert Johnson is thinking that way, or
He might, because that's good.
or is he thinking more like we're in the business of points? We're in the points business.
I mean, what's the bigger highlight or headline? Is it Oregon gets 6th in the meet, or is it Oregon's men's
Wins.
DMR wins and they have this magical season where they get the collegiate record and they win NCAAs? I mean, Oregon for so long obviously hung their hat on the distance races, and they've struggled in recent years. I mean, cross was pretty. The cross team ran decently well on the men's side of things. Last year the women won.
Yeah.
But I think Oregon, if they want to get back to that bread and butter, they got to start putting up some wins. And I think that's more important than cobbling together some points. Hit me with another one. We only got a little bit of time left.
So another one, Stanford.
Stanford's interesting. So I think Stanford matters a lot what they choose to do. Are you talking about the women?
Men.
Oh, okay. The women, let me talk about the women real quick.
Yeah, talk about the women
That's
first.
similar to the Danny Jones
Yeah, 'cause
dilemma,
you have
right?
Donahue,
Haymack.
and Lawson.
Right. And how they choose to deploy those is going to be big.
I think
like Orton and Jones are.
not reporting.
Gordon is not reporting.
Not
yeah.
reporting.
Yeah.
I think they all run the mile or 5K. I think that they do not go for a fresh DMR.
Really?
I think they.
Well, that'd be good news for BYU then.
I don't think they do fresh DMR.
And you're not reporting this.
Not reporting it.
Okay.
This is based off of, I think, in last year's coaching staff, they go all in on the DMR. But I think in this year's coaching staff, they go towards individual events.
See, I think J.J. Clark wants to start off with the dub too. Why wouldn't he want to win it?
I disagree.
I mean, again, there's only a few teams that can win it. You start off with really good odds in the DMR. You go into the mile, yeah, maybe you have 3 women that come in, but if Danny Jones is there, you're going to be in trouble. All right, here we go.
All right.
One more. Oh, Sanford men? What do they do?
Yeah, so this is should we be worried or not worried?
Oh, okay. Sorry,
So
we're switching
Stanford
back.
men, Thomas Ratcliffe runs a 4 flat
Yeah,
in January,
okay.
then scratches the Husky Classic. Should we be worried?
Yeah,
And if Ratcliffe is not running, does that mean that Stanford isn't going to be like relevant in the finals?
yeah, I'd be
this indoor
worried.
Season?
I mean, look at Ratcliffe's injury history. Maybe they're just being super cautious with him, but I'd be concerned. He started off so great in cross, and obviously he ended so great outdoors. Yes, I'd be worried. I think that's a big deal.
Okay.
Something to watch. Because when he's at his best, he's a guy who can run with Kurgat. He's a guy who can run with Klecker, right? Right, like he could be that third guy right there. He could be in the mix with
He was
the
so good outdoor last year.
Yeah.
Like-
So I think it's a big deal. If he's not there, it's opens up another spot.
Okay, last one.
Here we go.
USC. Wait for it. Chanel Brissett.
Chanel-
Brissett?
Brissett.
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 Brissett. She's the defending champ, right?
Yep.
She's currently ranked 16th in the 60 hurdles. Is her title, should we be worried? Should we be worried that she won't make the meet? Should we be worried that she won't finish top 3?
No and yes.
Okay, so she will make the meet.
Tania Marshall's been on fire. I think she should worry about top 3 though, because you have.
How does that happen where you're the third best on your team after winning the title the previous year?
Well, number one, their team's really good.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Number two, you saw it with how we started the segment with someone like Chloe Abbott in the 400.
Yeah.
The indoor season is just so short. If you're not ready to go right away,
You get left behind.
very quickly,
That's true.
and you're forced to say, hey, do I scramble to get this back together, or do I just slow down and get ready for outdoors? Because, again, I think people view outdoors as a little bit more important than indoors. But not us. Not on this show. We love indoors, right?
Yeah, we love indoors, of course.
It's one of our top 2 favorite track seasons.
Yeah, top 3.
Definitely.
So where are you going tomorrow? You're not going to be here?
I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be in Spokane,
Spokane,
Washington. Shout out to Gonzaga. Just kidding. I'm not going to Gonzaga. I'm going to a wedding. But if Gonzaga people are there, let me know. Yeah, so it'll be you and Lincoln. That means the episode will probably start somewhere around 9:45 or 9:50 tomorrow.
Probably.
Yeah, so it'll get out even later. But this was fun.
Yes.
Thank you for the 2 great episodes this week. Remember, you can watch this on the site, but you also can subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We need to create an email address. For next week, I think we should create an email address. Like,
For people emailing questions?
yeah, like the FloTrack podcast, something. Actually, we should register that before we do it so someone doesn't grab
Someone's
that.
totally going to grab it. That'll be actually awesome if someone does grab it. That means they're listening
Right now.
1 hour into this 4th podcast. So actually, I would respect them if they actually steal that.
Shout
email
out to
address.
you. Shout out to all you guys for doing that. But we should start one of those. That'd be fun. And I am reporting that. That is a fact. We are reporting that we're going to start an email address. We'll talk to you guys soon.